This week on News Time, Spike TV is going away at the end of the week, and in its stead will be a new network from the minds at Paramount. But it's not the same Paramount you're thinking about. I mean, yeah, they're part of the same family, but this is the television version, not the one behind such masterpieces as the live-action Transformers franchise, Shreks 3 and 4, and those really stellar and not overrated Iron Man movies. Ugh, Robert Downey Jr. saved comic book films. Paramount Network is on its way to be the next big basic cable network. So watch out, TNT, FX, and others I couldn't think of. PNET is coming to take your TV MA-rated crown. So please spray it with some Lysol, you disgusting pervs. Say goodbye to boobs and hello to busts of famous people. Prepare to get bust up to High Quality USA and get ready to start busting up on this News Time. Busts are fancy head statues. And busting up, I meant that I was going to buy you a Greyhound ticket to a fictional city called High Quality because all the new shows are going to be high quality. And I was giving you permission to start busting up, which means laughing really hard. There. Covered all my bases.
It's News Time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Eyesight, God bless you when you say achoo. Welcome back to News Time. I'm your host, Chad White. This is the comedy news that you didn't know about. Now, before I begin, I'd like to take a follow-up on a part of a story I did from last week concerning media publications' attempts at beating Facebook and Google. And if you didn't watch, and who can blame you because I barely even watched this stack of Blueberry Ranch Pringles, the short of it is that sites like BuzzFeed, Mashable, and Cracked are failing badly. They're firing people at a rapid pace and missing earnings targets because of their brand of journalism, which involves writing only hit stories for the web. But not every story is a hit. I went through this whole thing. You should really just go ahead and watch it. Any Hoosers, this past week, the Big F said that they were changing things up for their news feed again for its some 2 billion users. This time, however, they're going back to the two main tenets of what Facebook truly stood for in its early years: friends and family. In just a few months, you'll experience less clickbait and bogus news stories and more posts from the people you know and tolerate. Prepare your soul for more posts from Aunt Sally talking about how the dark president made her get that free health care that she desperately needed for her diabetes. And those paragraphs-long posts that begin with, "I never do this, but," which people brag about how great or poor their lives are. And the idea for the move is to get away from the stories that aren't always true. And the social sites director of research applauds step 2. Of course, there's a counter-argument here that nonprofits, small businesses, and others that actually need the sociability will be thrown to the wind. New York Times writer Mike Isaac also speculates that the change will bring people to spend less time on the website, which is what Facebook should not want to happen. But it's a risk that they're willing to take if it makes the platform much better to use. And since things are changing, how do sites like BuzzFeed and Mashable and even big news organizations like CNN and the New York Times itself that rely on clicks from Facebook deal with the new newsfeed talks? Not a clue there, Bob. No one is really sure as to how this will affect their stories. Reju Narasetti of Gizmodo Media Group has been expecting the change for a long time coming and is excited to see how this affects the quality of the businesses. But Digital Content Next Chief Executive Jason Kent is not so impressed and seemingly kind of panicked. It doesn't help that Facebook paid millions of dollars to a bunch of publishers to produce videos specifically for the site early last year. Further, the news of the change led to Facebook stocks dropping as much as 4% this past Friday. They'll bounce back, no doubt, but we'll have to see in the coming months how this will really change the game. Now to the main story. TV networks are increasingly becoming more important than they ever were before. In years past, they functioned as a place where viewers could watch their favorite shows, whether they be comedy or drama or news or whatever. But those that follow a more niche approach are the ones that people tend to stick with most. I like to leave my cable box turned to Comedy Central or Cartoon Network because more often than not, when I come home, I just want to turn on my Xbox, hit the One Guide, and laugh. Disney Channel is innocuous with the family sitcoms and cartoons and original movies, and ESPN is all about the sports, and dribble, and so on. However, that's a good one. However, there comes a time when a network loses itself, turning into a shell of what it once was. Look at FX offshoot FXX. It was meant to house the comedies of the original channel, but now it's mostly dedicated to action. Sure, it's got The Simpsons reruns and You're the Worst and Always Sunny, along with other standout comedies and movies, but movies like The Bourne Legacy, Hitman, Agent 47, and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, along with a host of others, make up most of its midday schedule. That's not to say that these movies should be received negatively. It's just odd that the network that was made for comedy is no longer about comedy. So what am I getting at? Spike TV, everyone's favorite dude-centric channel focused on the 3B tenets, beer, buds, and boobs, is on its way out. The replacement? A network from Paramount, the movie studio. What am I saying? Not just any movie studio, one of the biggest movie studios. They made Transformers Dark of the Moon and Shrek Forever After. Yeah. In just 84 hours, this new network will launch to an unsuspecting world because nobody really watched Spike. Not even ironically. I mean, come on. For those not in the know, Viacom, one of the most hated cable network owners, runs Spike. And they're in sort of a retooling period themselves with execs, a period that's been going on for the last few years. Roles change, people leave, that's the nature of the business. That nature is doubled for anyone working at Viacom. Heck, they may even be eyeing a merger with CBS. Again, to add to that, they're the most vocal network talking about losing viewers thanks to streaming. They fight with cable carriers only to make up a few days later, and they're now leading the charge for this new Paramount Network. You might be wondering how a network changes its name. It's not as simple as going to a courthouse. No, there's a whole rigmarole. Like 20 employees across Spike, TV Land, and CMT are cut from the team, including Spike's executive VP of programming, Tom Zappala. This is to centralize everything. And then Paramount Network and TV Land's operations teams become one. But it's not all firings. New hires will join the team, as well as including 3 new executives. I'd like to go into the roles, but I genuinely don't care. Just know that they're here for marketing, scripted shows, and acquisitions, respectively. Viacom is used to unifying 3 teams into one, as they pulled their same maneuver earlier in 2017 with MTV, VH1, and Logo, otherwise known as the 3 channels you didn't know still existed. With this new branding, Viacom would turn its focus into its 6 main channels: MTV, Comedy Central, BET, Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., and the newly formed Paramount Network. President of soon-to-be ex-Spike and soon-to-be-created Paramount Network, Kevin Kay, wrote in a memo about Viacom's plan to fortify the structure of the brand. Our goal is to make Paramount Network a premium destination that pushes the limits of storytelling with bold, original, scripted, and non-scripted series. As some of the architects behind the successful TV Land rebrand and the launch of critically acclaimed and fan-favorite hits like Younger and Teachers, this new structure enables us to take the deep insights and expertise of TV Land's team and apply them to Paramount Network as we gear up to launch, while also continuing our creative and ratings resurgence at TV Land. With the launch of the channel a mere few days away, let's take a look at what the network has planned. First up, there's a live lip sync battle at 9 p.m. on the dot when the channel turns on. The Spike TV favorite is of course making the jump, because why not? Later in the month, the network will jump right into the event series circuit with Waco, starring Michael Shannon, Taylor Kitsch, John Leguizamo, and Melissa Benoist, which tells the story of the FBI siege on a cult during the early 90s. TV Land turned Paramount remake Heathers is going to be an hour-long black comedy set in the present. The Kevin Costner starring Yellowstone is on its way too, courtesy of writer-director Taylor Sheridan. There will be more shows, like another anthology series, and a show based on a real housewife starring Alicia Silverstone. Launching a network can be rough, but it's been done before. Most all of the networks you watch were named something else prior to what they're named now. I've already talked about Comedy Central's roots as a merger between Ha and the Comedy Channel, or ABC's early years as a radio station turned NBC Blue. Nothing is natural anymore, but Paramount is in a unique position to place itself as a prestige network for the basic cable crowd. That'd be a real 180 for a channel that used to air shows like Mansers and Stripperella. That's a weird dig at Stripperella. Plus, Paramount already has a television production arm called Paramount TV, and no, PTV and P Network are not the same thing. I'm not proud to say that took me longer than it should have to figure out when I was writing this story. Paramount TV has been around for years. They're behind your favorite shows from across the media. Netflix's 13 Reasons Why, Nickelodeon's School of Rock TV adaptation, as well as the upcoming The Alienist on TNT and George Clooney's Catch-22 on Hulu, are all a part of the outfit. Maybe they can live some syndicated life over on Paramount Network in the future. Whatever the case, we'll be keeping an eye on the new channel to see if I can stand the test of time. And that's all the news I have for you for this week on News Time. Why don't you subscribe and check out one of our other videos? Of course, you can always head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where there's so much that the Falcons will not drop a pass against the Eagles. You can follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter at ChatBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Listen to the Constitutionals podcast. Please, it's just me rambling. And of course, you don't always forget that you forgot what to say at the end of this video. There you go.